Hello, this is Dr. Harper. This video is an Operations Management AMBA 6270 one-year MBA and spring 2021. This is homework number 2, Aggregate Planning, the plans using Excel. Now this video, I'm changing a little bit. Usually when you have more time to learn how to do these Excel spreadsheets and the aggregate plans using Excel, I consider it more of a discovery as you learn doing it. But since this is such a short time that we have together, I think a better way to do this is coaching or mentoring. And what I want to do in this video is work through each of the plans to show you how to do them. You can see how I do them so you can do them. And I think the learning will be accelerated. So let's bring up the homework. And in the homework, as we come down, I've already mentioned the homework and introduced it. I have a memo here, a planning committee, and here are all the standards of which I'll put into the Excel spreadsheet in a minute. The first plan is level capacity. The second plan is chase demand. And then the third plan is going to be minimum cost. So I'm going to start with the third plan, solve it, get the minimum cost plan, and then I'm going to modify that to get the plans 1 and 2, and then get plans 4, 5, and 6, and just show you how to work through each one of those so you can follow with me and see how to do it. So let's bring up Excel. Now in this Excel spreadsheet that I have here, notice I have plan 3 minimum cost. I already have it solved, and I will post this on Canvas so you can actually go through it. I think I already have it. If I haven't, I will. And you can go through and see exactly how I do this with the solver settings. Okay, so hopefully everyone is fine with that. However, in this video, I want to work through it again and then modify it to get the level, modify it to get the chase, modify it to get the plans 4, 5, and 6. So that's what this video is all about. Okay, so let's bring back the homework, and let's come back to the memo here. And now these, first I'm going to type all of these in. The labor standard is 16 minutes. The current wage is 27 per hour. Here's the demand. I'm going to type this in. So I'm going to, and here's the carrying cost, $525 per month. Down here later we will have for chase demand, we have the hiring cost here and the firing cost here. So in order to do the third one here, plan 3 minimum cost, I'm going to type all that stuff in. Okay, so let's go to the, let me show you what I've done here. Here I've typed all this in here, and then down here I have the actual spreadsheet to solve it. However, what I want to do here is, let me take this and just erase it all, delete it, delete all of this, delete this, delete these here, delete everything, and then and actually down here is a summary, and just delete everything and start from scratch and solve this all the way through step by step so you can watch how I do it, and then I'll modify this to get the other plans. Okay, first of all, as we go through the production plan, well, everything's going to come off of the production plan, so those are going to be the variables we're going to let Excel solver to create for us. And so let's come up here on the home, under here shading. Let's shade this in. Those are the cells that Excel is going to populate. Now from that, we're going to calculate here our FTE requirements. That's going to equal our production plan divided by our production standard. And F4 to fix it, copy that down, and there we go. Next, the hire and fire. With the hire and fire, we're also going to let that be variables, cells, the values that Excel and solver in Excel will actually populate. Now the left-hand side, most people got this, but I'll do it anyway, equals the FTE in the previous time period plus what you're going to be hiring in this time period minus what you fire, I'll put it here, up arrow and go there, minus the FTE in that time period. Do the same thing for the second time period, the previous time period FTEs, plus the hire, minus the fire, minus the FTEs, and then copy that down. Now to be safe and to double check everything, go back and make sure everything was done correctly. For example, the FTE requires, so you highlight the cell, come up here, and click in the command bar. You can see in the command bar it's blue divided by red, blue divided by red. That's what we want. So return, click, and everything should blue and red, blue and red, blue and red, blue and red, all the way. Make sure every cell is represented. Same with the hire and fire in the left-hand side. And notice up here in the command bar, it's blue plus red minus purple minus green, blue plus red minus purple minus green, and make sure that's the same every time. And the colors are consistent all the way down to double check to make sure it's right. Good. Beginning inventory, we have that here. Now the ending inventory, here comes our equilibrium equations. That equals our beginning inventory plus our production minus our demand, return, copy that down. And then the beginning inventory equals the ending inventory of the previous time period, copy that down. To make sure this is right, this is going to be blue plus red minus purple, blue plus red minus purple. And just to double check, take the time to make sure those colors go all the way down to the very last time period, month 12. Good. And make sure these are the previous all the way down. We don't want any mistakes. Good. Double check. Okay, now we start calculating. This will equal the average of the beginning inventory and ending inventory. That's the average inventory for that month, times the unit carrying cost per month. That's going to be the 525. Let's F4 to fix that, and then copy that down. And there we go. Okay, because we'll use that. Now down here, come down here at the bottom. Let's sum this. So the sum of all the entire demand should equal the sum of the production. And make sure we get all 12. Yep, all 12 is there. Then copy this over all the way to the hiring and firing. And then here we'll take the average. Remember, this is the average, equals average of the beginning and ending inventory all the way down. And make sure we got all 12 values from the beginning to the ending. Good, we're good to go. Now let's pull in the unit cost. Here's the unit cost down here. Well, for record time production here, that's going to equal $720 per item. Okay, and this is equal to the unit cost times the total items being produced. Okay, now this unit cost equals 2,400. This equals the 2,400 times the amount of FTEs hired. This equals 2,100 here, and this will equal the unit cost of 2,100 times the number of FTEs to fire. And finally, the unit cost of carrying over the year is 63 items per year. And this is going to be the unit carrying cost per year times the average inventory. Okay, and the total is going to equal the carrying cost plus fire plus hire plus the unit direct labor cost, total direct labor cost. And there we have everything set up. Now down here, I use this just for summary. This will equal my regular cost. This will equal my overcost. Don't have it yet. This is my hire. This is my fire. This is my inventory cost. This is my total cost. So I'm not hunting for it. Right here is what I'm going to be looking for. Okay, there it is. Now I think it's ready to go to Excel. I think we have it set up. Okay, now we go to Data. We go to Solver. Let's reset everything because I want to set everything up step by step. Bring this down. Our objective function, the setter objective cell is going to be the total cost. That cell right there. Column K, row 29, the total cost. We want to minimize that by changing these cells. Our production here, comma, our hire and fire. Make sure we get all of those cells in. Add our constraints. Well, first of all, we want our left-hand side, all of them, to equal 0. Add our ending inventory here, all of those to be greater than or equal to 0, add the ending annual inventory to be equal to our ending inventory up here, which is 5,800. Okay, make sure this box is checked, they're non-negative, and make sure our method is a simplex algorithm, simplex LP, linear programming, and then solve it. Ready, go. Okay, and it says solver found a solution, all constraints and optimality conditions are satisfied. Keep it. Yes, let's keep it because we got the solution. Okay, and sure enough, 264, 6369, that's the correct answer. And so all these numbers are the right. So we're going to start with this. So this is really, let me rename this to plan number 3, because plan 3 is our minimum cost. And there it is. Now from this we'll generate all the other plans. Okay, so let's do this. Let me do it. And first of all, we'll left click here, hold down the left click, hold down the control, move it, drag it, and we copy it over. So this, rename this. This is going to be plan, whoops, rename this. This is going to be plan number, let's see, plan 1. Make it plan 1. Now plan 1 up here, let's rename this. Plan 1 is going to be linear level capacity. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, let's come here to solver, and there it is. There's a number of ways to do it. I think what I want to do is add a constraint, and that constraint will be all of the hire and fires, set them equal to 0. That'll force a level capacity, and boom, there it is. Found a solution, and there it is. There's our level capacity. And sure enough, that's exactly what our level capacity is. 2847975, and there we go. Okay. Now, the next one, let's come back to plan 3. Right here's plan 3. And left click, hold down the control, drag it. This, rename this, and let this be plan number 2. Return. And up here, plan number 2 is going to be chase demand. So let's come back down to here. 2 is chase demand. Okay, so let's see how to do that. Remember, I went back to the I went back to the minimum. How do we do chase demand? Well, go back to solver and add a constraint, but this time let's let all of the production equal the demand. There we go. Okay, solve, and there we go, and there's our chase solver found solution, all conditions satisfied, and this is 2975677. Yep, that's the chase demand. Good to go. Okay, now let's go from plan 3 to plan 4. So let's hold down the left click, hold down the control, drag, copy, and let's rename this to plan number 4. Plan number 4. Okay. Now plan 4, let's come back up here and rename this plan 4. Well, we have to see what plan 4 is. Okay. Let's come to the homework again. Plan 3 is minimum cost, but plan 4 here, what is plan 4? Begin with the minimum cost analysis presented in the meeting. I did. I copied that over. And limit the FTEs per month to the agreed upon minimum of 44. Aha. So we're adding a max FTE per month of 44. Initially, no overtime limit was included to establish a basis for the cost of limiting the FTEs and the subsequent overtime cost. So there's no limit to the overtime. What is the sum of the annual regular time cost, annual overtime cost? So we're going to have overtime and overtime cost. We have to add that in. Hiring, firing, and inventory. Okay, here we go. So let's go back here. Now we're going to have a max FTE is going to be 44 FTEs per month. That's a constraint. But with that maximum of FTEs, notice we go over 44. We're going to have overtime. Okay? So I tell you what, let's see. We need to add this in. So let's bring this down here like this. And let's scoot this over 2. Because now when we have overtime, now we're going to have regular time production. And now we're going to have overtime production plan. Okay? Aha! Things are changing. So here, let's bring this down to here. Let's look at this, and now let's clear this. No fill here. Now our production is 2 of them, regular time and overtime. Let's shade those in. So now we're changing both of those. Okay. And we're still changing hiring and firing. But now the FTEs change, right? Because it's not production. It equal our regular time production divided by our production standard. F4 to fix that and bring that down. Because remember, the required FTE is based on regular time. The overtime doesn't change your FTEs. The same FTEs are working more than 40 hours a week. Hire and fire is the same. That's fine. We can zero that out because we're going to change that in a minute. The left-hand side changes too. Changes to what? Equals the last FTE, which is not production. It's going to be this FTE. Actually, it's going to be the same. Plus the hire, minus the fire, bring that down, minus this FTE. It is going to be the same. Whoops. That true means I have too many equals in there. Equals the last FTE, which is this one here, plus the hire, minus the fire, minus this FTE. Let's make sure we have these right. The blue plus red plus purple minus green. Yes. And these should be the same. Yeah, coming down. Okay. And this one should be the same. Yep. So we're good to go. Okay, the beginning inventory is the same up here. Now the ending inventory, what is the ending inventory here? Well, we could say production plan, but that would work fine because our production plan now equals our regular time plus our overtime. So if we do that, then we're fine. Okay? Because we're going to have our inventory equals our production plus our beginning inventory plus our production, which is regular time and overtime. Both of those have to be included. As a matter of fact, what I could do, I think I will, equals a beginning inventory plus regular time plus overtime minus demand. I'll even put those in. Okay? And then copy that down. That's fine. That would work too. Okay? Now, the sum here. Well, now we're going to have a sum, regular time, sum, overtime down here, right? So now this 720 is going to be on, on our regular time. But now our overtime cost equals time and a half. 1.5 times our 720 is 1080. So now our total here equals our unit cost times the total regular time production. This equals our overtime unit cost times our overtime regular production. Okay? And these are going to be the same. These are going to be the same. And these are going to be the same. And there we go. And but now our total, our total here equals now our direct labor regular time, direct labor cost, plus our overtime direct labor cost, plus our hire, plus our fire, plus our inventory. So now we have to add in our overtime. I think we're good to go. So now we go to our data, go to the solver. Let's reset everything because we're going to start from scratch again. Okay, now again we're going to, here's our total cost. That's what we want to minimize. By changing cells, now it's regular time and overtime. Changing those cells, comma, hire and fire. There we go. Now add our constraints. Well, first of all, we're going to have our left-hand side equal to 0, just like we had before. Our ending inventory here is greater than or equal to 0, just like we had before. Our ending annual inventory equals the ending inventory of 5,800, just like we had before. But now we have this maximum FTE requirement. So these FTEs right here is less than or equal to the 44. I'm going to click that cell, which is 44. I could type 44, but I'll click that so I can change the 44 if I want to. Okay? So now that I've changed that, that's going to change things. Okay? Because 44 is not enough. Then I'm going to solve. Let's go ahead. Make unconstrained variable simplex, solve, and boom. And there they are. Found a solution. And so once we look at this, number 4, we have 2654409, and that's the right answer. So there's number 4. So that's the big one. Okay, a lot of people had trouble with this, and I was noticing, and sometimes people didn't add in the overtime. Sometimes this was fine, but then the overtime wasn't part of the total cost. And so this is how you do the plan of 4. Plan 4. Now the plan 4 is minimum cost, okay, but it's also a max FTE, and it's overtime. Okay, there we go. Let me just say overtime production. OT production plan. So we add the overtime. Okay, and so there we go. Okay, now plan number 5 and 6. Let's see what 5 and 6 are. Let's bring back the Let's bring back the there it is. Bring back the homework. What's plan 5? 5 and 6 are together. Begin with a minimum cost analysis presented at the meeting. Limit the number of FTEs per month agreed upon minimum. And that was plan 4. Allow the overtime production at time and a half, but limit the monthly overtime production to 10% of regular time. Okay, and then do it. So this is one extra constraint. Limit the monthly overtime production to the 10% of regular time production. Okay, so let's bring this back. Let's go to plan 4, and let's copy plan 4 over, because plan 4 is what we're going to be using. And let's rename this to plan 5. Okay, well, not 54. Not car 54, where are you? Okay, let's do this. Here we go. Plan 5. Now, plan 5 is going to be all of this plus an overtime max of 10% of regular time production. Okay, so now we're going to limit our overtime. Okay, so now we have to add an overtime in. Okay, now we have to add another max overtime. I'm going to take this down here like this. I'm going to scoot this over 1, and then I'm going to have overtime on this one. Limit to 10% of regular time. Okay. So this right here is going to be my overtime max, and this will be 10% of regular time. Okay, so that just equals 0.1 times my regular time production. There you go. Whoops. Equals 0.1 times regular time production. And copy that down. Here we go. So that's and then that's going to be a constraint. So I go to solver. I add the constraint where my overtime production now is less than or equal to my overtime max. Okay, F14 is less than F15, G 14,325. Okay, I solved this thing. Solver found a solution. And so now I have, well, let's format this. 2680764. Boom, that's the right answer. Okay, plan 5. So now let's go back for plan 6. Well, let's see what plan 6 says. Okay. Plan 6 says, begin with the minimum cost analysis presented at the meeting. Limit the number of FTEs, that's plan 4. Allow the 10% limit of overtime production of the regular time. That's plan 5. Constrain the ending monthly inventory to greater than 10%. So now let me go back to plan. This is plan 5. And then limit plan 5 to where the ending monthly inventory is no greater than no greater than 10%, than 10. Okay, so let's minimize this. Let's go to plan 5. Let's go to plan 5 here. Copy that over and call this, rename this to plan 6. There we go. Up here, this is plan 6, so let's say plan 6. And this is max ending inventory of 10. Well, that's going to be easy. Just go to solver, add, and then here's our ending inventory. Notice it goes to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It goes to 0 7 months out of the year. I think they're right. That's a lot of risk of stock out. But I want this to be greater than or equal to 10. Well, it could be more than 10. I put 100 probably. But they say 10. Just okay, let's do it. Okay, solve it. Now what do we have here? Let's say found a solution. Okay. Now we look at this thing. We see here we have 2, 6, 8, 1, 2, 4, 5. Boom, that's the answer. Now on this one, I'm just solving these things, but right here, we could come back and do 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and see how this cost goes up. See the marginal cost. The marginal cost is reducing the risk of stock out. So that marginal cost will be the risk cost of lowering the risk of stock out. We could do that, but we won't do that in this course. That could be another course. Okay. Well, there are the 6 plans, and there they are. Those are the plans using Excel. I hope this helps. You can work through this. Make sure you could do this and work through the plans. And I'll post the plan number 3. I'll post that in Canvas so you can actually work on it and do what I just did in this video, step by step by step. I hope this helps. Between now and the next time I see you, I want to urge everyone